We gather neath the steeple as part of your herd, to sing of your praises, to hear of your word. But it ain't just 1 hour when we hear our Savior speak, 'cause the echoes of Sunday are heard all throughout the week. The echoes of Sunday ringing out through all my life. The echoes of Sunday give me comfort when in strife. Oh, to hear of your mercy and to know of your grace. The echoes of Sunday help me see my Savior's face.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another Echoes of Sunday podcast. I'm your host, Cody Bershing, and I'm joined once again by my co-host, Logan Cook.
Hey guys, excited to be here. Cody and I are both a little under the weather, recovering, so our voices might sound a little bit different, but we're happy to be here. And we have a very special guest today. This is a guy I've lived with for the past 2 semesters. He's my roommate. His name's Grant Wempner. Grant, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. So we usually like to start out with initially the first question is, what is your faith story been through your whole life? Like, what has your walk with God been, and how's it gotten you here to where you are? And you can start wherever you want. Go as fast or slow as you want.
Okay.
Do we check if the camera's recording, by the way?
Yeah, I checked.
Okay, good. Sorry, I just wanted to get into that right away before we got too far. But yeah, faith story, Grant. I'd love to hear it.
Yeah. My dad's a pastor. And I was born in New Jersey when we were serving out there, when he was serving out there. And then we moved to California, and that's where I grew up, basically, is California. And we were always at not a small church, but a smaller church, in that it was just one pastor. He never had an associate, so it was always he was the only pastor I ever knew my whole life. Mm-hmm. And then we moved. He took a call to be a pastor at a church in Wisconsin, Milwaukee area, when I was 18. And that church has 3.5 pastors now. So it's much bigger. And so it was different not having him be the only pastor. And I think, and that's about right when I started to go to college, and I went to WLC, Wisconsin Lutheran College in Milwaukee, right off the bat, out of high school. Mm-hmm. And my first, I don't know, either 3 or 4 semesters, probably 4, I kind of lived the classic college life. Just, I went to church most of the time, but it was always this is just what you're supposed to do kind of thing.
Yeah, take advantage of it while you can.
Yeah, right. It was a lot of, doing dumb stuff on weekends sort of thing. And I remember it was my beginning of my junior year. I lived in a house with a bunch of my buddies. There were 4 of us that lived there, and we had a bunch of people over. It was a Friday night, which that was every single Friday night. We all had a bunch of people over.
Yeah.
And, I was the only sober one.
Okay.
And there were probably 15 people there. And so I just went into my bedroom and locked my room because I was so annoyed. Because I was having to babysit everybody. And I'm like, no, this is stupid.
That's true.
I'm leaving. I'm not doing this. So I locked the door, and I was in a bad mood. And I'm like, no, I'm going to read my Bible. I haven't done this in a while. Which is probably not a good thing. But at least I opened it. And that was
a good thing in that moment.
But it was a good thing in that moment that I read it. And I still remember that there was just something clicked that day. I was like, oh, look at that. God wasn't lying. Who would have guessed? He's telling the truth. And not that everything in my life was instantly a 180 from that point on, but that was the first time that really got me thinking I need to start taking my own faith life much more seriously. Because when I got to college, that was when faith was it's not spoon-fed to you by mom and dad anymore. It's actually yours.
It's on you. Yeah.
Right. And if I'm not going to open my Bible, and if I'm, I'll go to church from 9 to 10 on Sunday morning, and that's my hour of Jesus time all week. That's not really gonna cut it or be enough to pour into my faith life the way I needed to. Mm-hmm. So as I kind of realized that now it's my job and not mom and dad's job. That's realizing that is kind of when things started to change, and got involved with a couple ministry opportunities, both on and off campus in college. And then by the time my senior year rolled around, I was like, well, this Bible stuff is really fun. I might want to do this all the time. So I had a lot of conversations with a like campus pastors, talking to my dad about it a lot with him being a pastor. It was just, he was a good resource for that, obviously. And after, lots of prayer, lots of nights without a lot of sleep because I was stressing about what I wanted to do with the rest of my life, I decided I want to be a pastor. And so now we're a month away from finishing up 2 years here at MLC before I go off to seminary.
But you have your bachelor's in accounting, right?
Mathematics.
Math guy.
Okay.
Math guy. I wanted to be an actuary.
He does his math tutoring for high schoolers. Sometimes he'll do it at the apartment, he'll take videos. And it's so intimidating because I haven't touched math in 4 years, at least 5 years. And I'm just I don't remember any of this stuff, man.
I know, dude.
It's wow, you sound so smart.
It's hilarious. The running joke in the pasture track at MLC is that every pasture track hates math. Which is why that's kind of cool that Grant is one of the only ones that's actually just a killer at it.
My dad jokes I'll be the one pastor who sits in church finance meetings and actively contributes.
Instead of just sitting back.
He's the rest are going to be that went over my head. I have no idea what they just said. He's you're going to be crunching all the numbers for him.
Yeah.
Hopefully not. I don't want to do everything.
I was
not the goal.
Always the kid in high school going through math where for me, I'll try really hard in school if it's something that I can draw a line towards ministry wise. But man, dude, in high school, when I'm going through algebraic equations and
that stuff's fun though.
Proofs in geometry, man. I was barely scraping by, man. And I was just every single time my teacher would be like, you can try more. Why don't you try more? And I'm like, when am I ever going to use this? Why would I invest 3 hours of time into studying this when I'm never going to use it?
Actually wearing the shirt. I coach volleyball at MVL, the high school here in town. And one of the things I intentionally try to do with my volleyball girls in practice is work math into everyday life to show them that it does. I'm being serious. I'm being serious. For example, one thing we talk about in volleyball a lot, that's the sport I coach, is you always want to swing to the deep corner because you have more margin for error. Because you can hit it farther and it'll still land in if you swing to the deep corner, if that's the farthest away from where you're at. And I'm so girls, why do we want to, why is that the farthest? Well, it's just the farthest spot. Well, it's Pythagorean theorem because it's triangle. So they all hate me. But,
I bet.
But there is a place for math in real world, Cody. So I don't want to hear any of that. Oh, I'm never going to use this.
Okay, I also want to point out too, my math teacher, Mrs. Soren at Evergreen, she had a poster in her room that had the title of it was think you don't need math, think again, and then it lists all these different professions that use math on it. You want to know what profession wasn't on it? Pastor wasn't on it. And I laughed so hard because I was your poster literally proves my point.
How are you going to keep track of finances though when you're an adult and on your own? That's something you got to do.
He's going to be a pastor. He's got plenty of money. Yeah. He's not worried about it.
Forgot about that. My bad.
He's fine.
You want to know what my dad told me growing up? He said, "Marry wisely."
My dad said I should marry some WLC nursing major because they'll make plenty of money.
There you go.
That's the key. That's the trick right there.
That is the most important quality.
That'd be a powerhouse. You being the killer pastor and then your wife just being an awesome doctor or nurse.
Making bank.
Yeah, dude. The Wempners, man. Carrying the synod.
Let's not get carried away. Let's calm down a bit. I haven't even gone to SEM yet.
Yeah, dude.
Next year, though.
Next year will be. Yeah.
So what's it been like having to go from WLC for 4 years to then coming into MLC 2 years?
It's
for 2 years.
Yeah, for 2 years. It's weird because I'm technically I'm in the second career program. I never had a first career, but I'm second career. Because the qualifications is if you have a bachelor's from somewhere else, which I do. I got it 3 months before I came here, which has got to be a record for the least amount of time.
Probably.
Or at least close to it. So it was kind of weird at first because it's it's this weird, this non-traditional student. But then I talked to guys and we're like, we're all the same age. There's undergrads who have taken gap years or whatever who are older than me. That's the funny thing. There are multiple undergrads. I can name off the top of my head a couple undergrads here who are older than me. So it was an adjustment period socially, trying to find, how do I balance, and I living off campus and being an adult, but also trying to blend in and do 2 more years of college, live the college life, not in a bad way, but in very social way. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And MLC is a lot smaller than
MLC is a lot
WC.
smaller than WLC.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very different atmosphere. One thing I will say is about MLC, everyone's super close. Like by and large, you know most people, which even at a school like WLC, like I knew most people, but I would say I had probably less close friends. I knew the same like percentage of people, and that you know you're on a first name basis with most people walking around.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like here, there's tons and tons of people who I would walk up to and instantly could have a 30-minute conversation with.
Oh yeah.
There's more of that here than there is at WLC, I would say. But that's the nature of the school serving different purposes. You know, here we're all, Lord willing, going to be coworkers for the next 60 years or something like that. And there, everyone's going for 4 years together and then going all their separate ways.
Yeah.
So it's very... And that's not a knock on WLC. I'm the first to compliment WLC. you guys definitely know that.
WLC
I'm
guy,
the first to compliment WLC. I love WLC.
We know.
But but they're just very different. Like people always ask me, "Oh, which one's better?" Like you can't compare them at all.
Yeah.
They do totally different things. That even if one is a better experience than the other, there's such different purposes that you still can't even say, "Well, this one's better or that one's better."
I think that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're definitely going to each school for completely different reasons.
Right.
So it's like,
Exactly.
I feel like just inherently, that's kind of an impossible comparison to make.
No,
Would you say
totally
it's
is.
like the same with the professors too on campus, where it's like you could just walk up to any professor here and talk to them? Is that different than like what it would have been like?
Yeah,
at WLC?
that's like at WLC. That's how it is with the profs in your major normally.
Oh,
like the math profs, I could walk in there anytime and talk. We'll talk math, obviously, but also just talk life, or like because one of them was my advisor.
Mm-hmm.
You know, talk life, talk jobs, talk sports. If it's a professor who knows sports, which a couple of our math profs did. So it kind of just depends. Or like at WLC, all your theology profs, those are ones that everyone kind of knows because everyone takes theology. So you can walk in there. Like I'm really good friends, I would say, with some of our theology profs. I text a couple of them every now and then, which is kind of fun.
It's cool.
Did you talk to some of them like before deciding to be a pastor?
I said campus pastor, but I also talked to one or two of our theology profs.
And did they try to like push you in that direction, or were they just like listening?
More so listening, but like they were definitely encouraging towards ministry. I think they were, they weren't going to say no, don't go be a pastor.
Well, right, yeah.
But yeah, they were encouraging toward it. I was talking to Dan Johnson, who's the president of WLC, and one like a joke he always says is, "We don't ever want anybody to transfer, but if they're transferring to MLC because they really want to go into the ministry, yeah, okay, leave." That's kind of his thing.
Yeah.
Like if you're going out into gospel ministry, yeah, transfer out, just go into that. So that was kind of neat that he was, had that mindset of, obviously as the president of a college, you want to keep students at your college. That's a big part of your job.
Mm-hmm.
But you want to be a pastor? Get out of here, dude. Like,
yeah. I feel like especially at a D3 college, where like at a D1 college, if someone transfers out, it's like, I don't know, it's
there's
just
so
a dime
many
a
of them.
dozen.
Yeah.
But at a D3 college, they really value your presence because at D3 you're usually involved in 2 or 3 different like extracurriculars, and everybody knows you. Like it's just a way more involved atmosphere.
And I guess it was probably easier for me than like students who would transfer, because I did graduate. Like I got my full 4 years. Mm-hmm. So all my friends, my graduating class, they all just went off, to grad school or to more work, and I just came here. Yeah. So it wasn't like I transferred out and had to leave all my friends before they graduated. I think that would have been tougher. I'm glad I got to do all 4 years there and still have the full experience and not get that cut off.
Mm-hmm.
So you would rather have gone through the 4 years at WLC than like realize 2 years into it that you wanted to be a pastor?
I think so. Yeah.
Interesting.
Well, I never would have even wanted to be a pastor if I wasn't at WLC for my junior and senior years there, because that's really when things started to, when the thoughts started to get rolling in my brain.
Mm-hmm.
But
what did you think about being a pastor before that?
I had no desire to be a pastor at all. Like none.
Like it didn't even come into your head?
No. Like I remember I was either a junior or senior in high school. My dad was like, because this was when, you guys start talking about college apps with your
Yep.
kids. And
Yeah.
I was like, have you ever thought about being a pastor? I'm like, yeah, I've thought about it. I don't want to do it. And he's like, okay, that's fine. Like, and he was very like, he wasn't like, you have to be a pastor. He was like, all right, what do you want to do? Like, he was
That's
very
good.
like open about it, which was good. But so that's where I was at with being a pastor.
Mhm.
I just didn't want to.
Mm-hmm.
It's not because I hated the Bible. I just like,
Right. Yeah.
I just didn't want to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the same with me. Like sure, reading the Bible was fine. I mean, later I took it more seriously, but I did not want to get up and preach like that guy and have to deal with all the other church stuff. Like, that's so lame.
Yeah.
I could do other cool stuff, like make money.
Right. I could be rich. I could have a nice house.
Yeah. Yeah. It didn't work out. I'm here now. But
So am I.
I'm happy to be here.
We're here together, though.
Yes.
One of my favorite quotes is when human beings make plans in this life, God sits up in heaven and laughs.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, I'm not
Yes.
going to be a pastor. God's like, oh, you watch out, Logan and Grant.
Yeah.
You'll be singing a different tune in a few years.
Actually.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
He probably got a kick out of us saying that.
I
know.
swore I would never go to college.
Really? You weren't
Yeah.
even going to go to college?
I swore to myself I wouldn't go to college because it was stupid.
And here
Waste
you
of
are,
money.
going into
And
year 4
now-
soon.
Going to the
That's
8-year
crazy.
program.
Year
That's
4 out of
crazy to
8.
think
Yeah.
about.
so, yeah, God works in strange ways, but it's all for the best.
What do you guys think is like the biggest reason why people don't want to become pastors? Like maybe specifically in the Wells, I guess. Do you think it's just the 8 years of school, or do you think it's like other stuff outside of that? Maybe that's a loaded question. I don't know.
Maybe
I don't. Go ahead.
You can go ahead. You're the guest. You're the guest.
Okay. I was going to say, I don't think it's the time. I don't think it's the 8 years of school. Because I've talked to people who are on the fence, and they're always, no, it's not. It's not time.
Mm-hmm.
For part of the people I've heard, it's just the intimidation of all the languages you have to
languages,
learn.
yeah.
Like, and that's probably the most common answer I've heard is, I'd love to be a
think that's
pastor,
fair.
but I don't think I can learn that many languages.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also don't think people think they're going to be good at it, or if they're like suited for it all the time. If they have the gifts for it, you might say.
Well, none of us do.
Not perfectly, yeah. I mean, some of us have,
Yeah.
like, not some of us. All of us have gifts in certain things.
Yes. And it is true that some people have stronger gifts in area A than area B.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that, like, when they start doubting that, I think that kind of messes with them.
Yeah. I think that the answer that I've heard the most is probably the languages too.
Mhm.
I know I've talked to people at Evergreen who would consider it, but yeah, like the languages freak them out and stuff. That's where it's like, I don't know. I feel like you get into the interesting conversation where it's like, well, you want to have the high standards, so like, I don't know, your pastors are the most well equipped to be able to go out and like share the gospel and minister to people, but also, do you lower the standards a little bit to bring in more people? I guess, like, I don't know.
Mm.
That's a difficult situation. No, I
For
guess I'm
quality
glad.
or quantity?
Well,
That's the
yeah.
question.
Well, then I'd say, like, I don't know if the languages are really that big of an indictment on, like, how you'll be as a pastor, period, I guess. At least your effectiveness.
I think the languages also seem more intimidating when you're outside of the program
I think
versus
that's
once
true.
you're in
They
it.
do.
Like, I'm not saying they're easy. They're definitely a challenge, but
Yeah.
they're far from impossible. Even
Yeah.
if it doesn't come to you naturally or right away, like,
You will get through it.
you will get through it. Exactly.
They always...
I don't think I've heard of a single guy
Yeah.
who was fit to be a pastor, but couldn't translate Greek, so he didn't make it.
Yeah.
Like
I think that's
They'll
true.
help you get through it.
that person doesn't exist.
Yeah.
I was talking to my dad. One of my dad's good friends is a former SEM prof who now has left the SEM to go back in the parish, and he was telling me he would all the time would have students come to him at SEM and be like, "Professor, I'm really worried about I don't know if my Hebrew or my Greek's going to cut it," and he would turn to him and go, "What language do you preach in?" English. Can you speak that one? Okay, we're good.
We're good. I like that. That's funny. That's reassuring too.
Yeah, and that's coming from a professor at the seminary.
Yeah, exactly.
Amen to that.
Mm-hmm.
I was always told coming into MLC too, even like before first day of classes, I think, that as long as you put in the work, like, you'll be fine at the languages. Like, as long as you're like
Yeah,
actually
that's
like
true.
diligent with your studies, like, you're gonna scrape by, and you're probably
You're gonna scrape by.
How encouraging.
yeah. I mean, like
You don't
you'll
have to be
get
a
through
genius.
it. You'll get
Yes.
through
Yes,
it. Is a better way
exactly.
of saying it. You know.
This is a terrible way of thinking about it. But me and some of my friends, like when we have really bad, like hard tests or papers coming up in a language class, we'll be like, "Well, there's dumber people than me who have made it through and are pastors now, so we'll be fine."
Sometimes it helps.
It does.
That's true.
I'm not thinking of anyone in particular, but it's just true, you know? Like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I do think the languages are definitely more doable.
yeah.
I mean, this is maybe not the best thing to put on record, but like, if there's ever like a day where you're just like buried underneath like 3 different like language homework, like quizzes, tests, and stuff, like there's corners that you can cut to where you're not just studying for like 5 hours.
Never
you
done
know?
that. Never done that.
I would just say I'm in 4 different
How dare
language
you,
courses
Cody.
right now. Like, of course that there are moments in time where I'm going to take the easy way out and either just not prepare a translation for the day and pray it doesn't call on me or whatever.
Or just
else.
wing it if you get called on. Just
Yeah,
say
dude.
translate. I've done that before.
Exactly. Yeah. It'll be okay. You'll get through the class period.
Yeah, right.
They're not going to kill you.
There have been some class periods where you're sitting there and you're sweating. Please don't call me.
Yes.
Please don't call me.
Oh man, dude, it's like the worst is either cold calls are just terrible because you never know when it's coming, but also
Yes.
like I think what's almost worse is when it's like by rows and you have like 10 minutes left in the class period and then there's like maybe like 5 people between you and like when you have to translate and then you're like, oh my goodness, am I gonna make it? Like, is the bell gonna like ring in time for me to not have to
But
translate?
you're also counting ahead to see which one you'll have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's like 2 minutes left, I'm up, quick ask a question to try and like delay it. Yeah, I've done that a few times.
Yeah.
Oh man, dude, that's funny, dude.
It's a whole strat about it.
Yeah,
It's a whole strat.
every
yeah.
single Pastor Trek guy who has ever come through MLC knows
yeah.
exactly what we're talking about
yeah.
too. Like, if you're not a Pastor Trek, this whole segment is probably like, just get on with it. But yeah, no, it's funny talking about it with 2 other Pastor Trek guys.
Nobody wants to say it, but we all do it. Like it's
Oh,
and
yeah.
especially as soon as you're in class and this person has verse 1, so
Yep.
okay, I have verse 12. You count around to see which one you have.
You don't listen to anybody
And
else
you don't
translate.
listen to anybody
Because you're just like,
else.
oh, shoot, okay.
That's the worst part.
Is he looking? Okay, look at the dictionary. Okay, look back.
Yes.
Yep.
Oh man, dude.
Done that a time or two.
Yeah. But if professor watching or listening, no, I've never done that. And it's not in your class. It was in a different person.
We're talking about different.
It was a
class,
different
yeah.
prof. Don't worry.
Oh man, dude.
Very diligent students here.
So has like the MLC program been more difficult for you as a Pastor Track than like your math program was at WLC?
It's a good question.
That is a good question. And for a while, I kind of, because people ask me that sometimes, and I would go back and forth on what my answer was. But I've settled on an answer, and I like it. I think it's actually true. I think MLC is more work, and like there's much more day-to-day stuff that you're doing, and the languages are like the pace at which you go is faster. Like you learn a lot quicker. But at least I can only speak for the math program at WLC because that's what I was in.
Mm-hmm.
But the math program, I would say it was harder than Pastor Track here, if that makes sense.
That's interesting.
Yes. So less work, but harder. So I don't know where that
I kind of believe that.
I don't know where that trade-off lies.
Yeah, like what made it harder, would you say? Just like the actual
Just the difficulty of some of the concepts.
Yeah.
There were some problems that me and my friends would be sitting together working on, and we would have a step-by-step, because we would buy Quizlet Plus to get all the answers of how to do it. We would have a step-by-step of how to get the answer, and we still didn't know how to get the answer. Yeah.
Wow.
Is this like calculus or above calculus?
Yeah, it's above calculus. Yeah.
I feel like if you're a math major at college, like calculus has got to be like the beginner almost, is it? Yeah. Like you start at calculus.
Oh, man,
Yeah.
dude.
And then like
most people have a lot of calculus done before you get to college.
that's what I thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I took
Oh
Calc or
my
AP
goodness.
Calc in high school, and that was confusing.
What even
So
is
confusing.
above AP Calc? Is it AP Calc or
Quantum
mechanics?
Check out some math podcasts and they'll fill you in.
Oh man, dude.
That's crazy.
Here I am barely scraping by with my algebraic equations and we're on AP Calc. Oh, golly, dude.
So
We're not here to talk about math.
Pastor Track is more like grunt work.
Yes, and I think you learn things at a quicker pace too. So it is more grunt work, but it's also, I feel like I've learned more things. Like in the span of, what have I been here? Almost 2 years.
Yeah.
I've learned more linguistically with the languages than I have in, say, 4 semesters of math classes.
Okay.
Yeah, because it moves faster.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's just the nature of the things being so different.
And what drew you to math? Like straight out of high school, like what was the driving force for that?
It's always been my favorite subject in school, and so I wanted to do something in the field of math, and I wasn't sure what that was when I was going into college, but as I spent time in college, I was like, oh, I think I want to do an actuary, or like something in the realm of data science, like somewhere in there. And so, yeah, it was just always my favorite class.
Is there any part of you that like wonders if you want to go back to that?
I mean, I still have the degree in my back pocket, so.
That's true, yeah.
No,
That's true.
I don't envision myself ever going, oh, I'm going to go be an actuary tomorrow. That's probably not going to happen.
Okay, good. I think you'd be a good pastor, man.
Thank you.
I do.
Thank you.
No.
I'm really curious, like, what was your, like, faith life in high school, and then what did it look like when it kind of, like you said, it changed a little bit, like it meant more to you when you at that point in college?
In high school, it was honestly just family devotions and church. That was mostly it. I didn't do a ton else. And I went to a public high school, too.
Oh, yeah.
So I didn't have any religion class or anything like that. Actually,
Do you think that was a bad influence on you? Or, like,
I think it
neutral?
was part of the reason I didn't want to be a pastor, was
Really?
being in that setting. Yeah, because I just wasn't around anyone who thought theologically the same way my family did. So I was, and it was a school that was like very college prep focused. So it was all about, oh, you can go do this career, that career, whatever else. So I was like, yeah, let's do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And yeah, so that played a role in my faith life too, just not being at a Christian school, which I'm so glad I went to a public school. I learned a lot. I feel like I appreciate a lot more things. It's going to be very useful for me in the long run.
So you wouldn't like do it over differently, like if you had the choice?
Probably not. No.
Oh,
No.
As a public school kid myself, I think I know what you mean. But can you elaborate by like what you mean by you learned a lot?
I mean, I was put in just settings that I wasn't familiar with, especially the school I went to in California. It was in Santa Ana. That's what the city's called in California.
Mm-hmm.
And the school was, I forget the exact number, it was like 94 or 95% Hispanic.
Wow.
So it was just it was culture shock at first.
Yeah.
Which was really good. I think I had to get comfortable with being uncomfortable and just learning about different, and like, so Hispanics were far and away the most prevalent, but like it was a bunch of others before white students. Like there were hardly any in the school, which was
so you're a minority.
Big time.
Interesting.
Which in hindsight, I'm like, that was pretty cool. I learned a lot, made a lot of really neat connections and friends, and learned things that I wouldn't have otherwise about other people and backgrounds and upbringings and everything. So I'm sure God's going to use it in my ministry in some way. I just don't know what it is yet.
Do you know Spanish?
I used to know a decent bit, but I haven't kept up with it. That's kind of one thing I've been wanting to get back into.
Yeah.
But
it'd be cool.
So busy with grunt work.
Yeah.
Grunt work.
But yeah, just because that was everyone's first language in high school. So you kind of just pick up on enough because people speak it all the time. I definitely didn't speak like proper Spanish. It was not grammatically correct.
Okay.
Because it was like street Spanish, but
sure.
People knew what you meant.
Yeah.
And I took class. Like I took it in high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
obviously, but I'm by no means fluent.
You know more than me, so I've always wanted to learn Spanish. I think it'd be cool. But
it's a very practical language for doing ministry. I think
for sure.
I've always told people this actually. Like, I want to learn Spanish one day after I get my first call. I don't want to learn it before because I don't want to get like I don't want to get like a Spanish speaking congregation call. Nothing against like
like
the
that sounds bad at first.
nothing against like the Spanish speakers, but like I don't know, that's very intimidating to me. So it's like I'd love
That's
to
fair.
like get my first call,
That's fair.
then work on it, and maybe build up the confidence over time. But yeah, I was just thinking too, like with you, I mean, we'll have to see what God has in store for it. But with like that diverse background, it seems like you'd be a fantastic candidate for like some type of call like that, where even if it's not a Spanish speaking congregation, if it's a congregation with a lot of different like diverse backgrounds or ethnicities, then you already have a lot of
I don't know.
experience.
Have I told you what I'm doing this summer? I might not have.
Alaska, right?
Yeah. And that's a super, super
That's so
diverse community up there. They actually do have Spanish worship
cool, dude. Oh yeah,
up there.
Wow,
So
that's so cool, dude.
that'd be
yeah,
fun.
it's a very, very diverse place compared to, the Midwest.
Yep. Yes, sir.
So what does this summer look like for you then? Like what's all the stuff that you're gonna be doing?
I'll preach, I think twice is what I'll do, but then I'll do liturgies or Bible class a lot.
I feel like, okay, for me, I think Bible class would be more intimidating than preaching.
Dude, I agree. That's such a great
Because
take.
you got people are having like questions, you're gonna be like right off the cuff. I know the answer.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
That'd be
Because
scary.
with preaching, it's just what I write, and I just got to say it. It's stuff that I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with you.
It'd be a lot of fun in a Bible class, I think.
But like, especially the first few times you're doing it, when you're a new pastor and you maybe aren't as deep in your knowledge as a 30-year vet.
I think I'll say, I don't know. It's an interesting thing. Like how I envision doing my Bible studies one day is not like I'm going to come up with like a very like detailed outline with like all these different points that like we have to hit. I kind of want to just go through like books of the Bible where it's like, okay, we're going to go through like Galatians or Ephesians, and then maybe like I'll come up with like some main points or like some background information. But otherwise, like I kind of just want to like just read it together, like with the congregation members, and then just talk about it, like go very exegetically, I guess. And to me, that takes a lot of the pressure off, I guess, with leading Bible study, as opposed to coming up with like a very detailed outline or plot, I guess. But I don't know.
Yeah,
Maybe
but in
that's
those
just me.
awkward moments when no one knows what to say, you gotta be the one who has something like really intelligent to say.
I don't know. I mean, like I'm great at just filling awkward silence with maybe awkward non-silence. Like I can ramble for a little bit. It might not be the most profound.
Start talking about the
intelligent.
Mariners in Bible class.
Yeah, this passage reminds me of that one time where Ken Griffey Jr. Yeah, no.
Crazy.
I don't know. Like public speaking is always something that like I've really enjoyed, to be honest. Like preaching as well, but I think for me, like having to like set aside the time to like really like focus on memorizing a sermon, that still takes a lot of time, no matter like how good of a memorizer you are. I feel like so that to me is always maybe like just a little bit more intimidating, or at the very least something that I enjoy less than like being able to like just talk about God's word with people in a Bible study setting, I guess. But I totally understand what you guys are saying too. I'm not discrediting that at all.
I'm not saying I'm dreading it. Like I am looking forward to it. It's just intimidating.
Yes, exactly. That's a good way to put it.
What's the part of pastoral ministry that you guys are not looking forward to the most, or are looking forward to the most? If that's an easier question to answer.
I think the relational component of it is something I'm really excited for.
Mm-hmm.
Just the bonds you get to form with people, because oftentimes the bond between a person and their pastor is different in that person just tends to trust their pastor more, and that's something that we have to earn. Like it's not we don't just show up and have it right away.
That's a good point.
But once you've developed that, it seems like a really, really cool relationship that people can, if something cruddy's going on in life, I'm just going to go to pastor. And being the first person that some people go to.
Yeah.
Sounds like a really fun thing, honestly.
Yeah, being able to be there for people's like toughest, most important moments in their life.
And to pray with them and encourage them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Give them what they need.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've heard from a pastor that when people, like, you always have to be prepared for people to text and call you And normally when people are texting and calling you, it's not because something like incredible just happened, you know?
Yeah.
Like no one is like calling you to tell you that their kid like got home safely from school. Or like their kid has a baseball game and they won like 5-3 today or something. Like no one's doing that.
It's always
Like,
something bad.
Yeah, if they're calling you, it's
always
because
something going on.
oh, I got laid off at work, or oh, my husband or my child is in the hospital right now with whatever, or I'm going through this really difficult patch with like my sin or like my pet sin, whatever it is, you know, and like have to be prepared for that. You're always on call, and like I said, it's not like that's going to be a very, I don't know, they're not going to be great moments necessarily all the time.
Mm-hmm. I think that's part of my least favorite thing about being a pastor probably would be, or the least thing that I'm looking forward to, is just spending time with my family, or needing to spend time with my family, but then getting called away and having to
that's a good answer.
Do that and feeling like I'm letting my family down, especially if it's a tough time at home. Like if they just need me there, you know, I would feel terrible.
I know I've heard from a lot of pastors that that's something that's incredibly hard to balance, is being a pastor, but also being a husband and a dad.
Because those come first, I think. I think biblically those would come first before being a pastor.
Yeah.
That's tough. I think you have to give yourself.
I don't want to say that as an absolute.
Yeah.
Do you?
I kind of. I mean, not an absolute. Like, well, sorry, Betty, you're dying in the hospital.
Yeah,
but my kid has a baseball game, so
right. That's what I'm saying.
Not like that. But like they deserve to have time made for them.
Yes, and that's part of your biblical obligation as a man and a husband and a father.
I think if you look at like Timothy, right? Like if you can't maintain and control your own household, how can you be expected to maintain and control a church? So like I think if you look at it through that lens, like you have to make sure that your family is in order before you can like worry about the church.
Yeah. Oh, but, that's made clear. Yeah.
Yeah. It's I think you just have to give yourself grace as a pastor ultimately. Like there's not a single pastor who balances that perfectly 100% of the time. And that's just the reality of living in a sinful world. So like, yes, strive to do it as best you're able, but when there are times that you're not able to do that as well as you would like, then understand that doesn't make you a terrible father or pastor necessarily. It's just the price you pay, I guess, to do what we do.
Sacrifice.
Yeah.
I feel like this is a different topic, but I think a lot of young Christians have gone through a similar experience where, like as you, where they maybe went to church with their family, but then when they got older and maybe went to college or later in high school or something like that, then they took it more serious and they had this kind of like awakening. And so maybe for those people, people who are going through that or whatever they're dealing with, can you maybe shed some more light on what that experience was like for you? Like waking up to that, and then what it looks like to actually, like how life change? Did life stay the same? You know, I don't know if that's a good question, but
no, it is, and I think you're right in what you're saying. With that's a general trend that I think we're seeing in society as a whole, and it's not like it'll be some instant, the Holy Spirit's going to come on me on November 12th, and all of a sudden my life's going to completely change. It's not going to be like that. Mm-hmm. But when you, at least when I look back on it in hindsight, and you see, a couple months or weeks or months or years stretched out all at a time, and you're like, oh my goodness, like look at how much has changed over that 2-year period or whatever it might be. And it's not like there's a whole lot of day-to-day change each day, but it was just a slow and sure process of, all right, I'm going to read my Bible again today, and I'm going to be more intentional with this, and I'm just going to say a prayer today. That's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to say one.
Yeah.
Because that's one more than yesterday. And eventually that more time with that, and I think by and large the case for most people is the more time you spend truly conversing and reflecting and talking to God, the more you want to do it. if you've truly come to terms with what it actually is that you're reading and listening and talking about.
Yes.
So as that just is, I mean, it's like going to the gym, and I'm sure someone's used that analogy probably on this podcast before, but I can't go to the gym and rep 225 for 20 the first day I get there. It'd be fun, but I can't do that. So and you guys can attest to too. I'm sure there's times in your faith life, even if you're like on a spiritual high and you're rolling, you're like, yeah, first couple of years I wasn't really in church much. Now I'm rolling again, and then there's a week period just dragging and not really feeling it, and it's harder to open your Bible, and it's harder to pray, and it's harder to do anything spiritual. So it's not linear, but we're getting Matthew again. But if you make a trend of it, the trend is still going up, even if there's little bumps and mountains and valleys along the way.
Mm-hmm. It's not exponential growth; it's linear.
Yeah,
that's a good poll for me. Okay, like you should be proud of me for that. I mean, wow.
Good job, Cody. Good job.
Sorry, not to make light of that. That was a very good point.
Yeah, thank you, Grant. Because I think, as someone who had a similar experience, when you have that light switch or whatever, or you kind of come to that realization, or the Holy Spirit brings you to that realization, you want to be a super Christian, or you're like on fire for, quote unquote, on fire for Jesus, and you want to tell everybody about it, and you're super excited, and you want to buy all the Christian t-shirts and listen to all the Christian music and stuff like that. But then when you're not the perfect Christian, and when you're not doing everything the way that you think you should be doing it, then it's really easy to be down on yourself. Mm-hmm. But you're just a baby. Like, you're just learning all this stuff for the first time. Like, you've heard it in Sunday school, but now you're starting to chew on it for real.
When I first got to New Ulm, like 2 months after I got here, I got really strict myself with like my devotional life, and I like set this super ambitious plan of what I'm going to do, and it's like, I'm going to journal this, and this, and I'm going to do like journal this and this every night, and it's going to be reflections from the devotion that I read that day, and I'm going to pray about that same devotion at whatever 9, 12, and 3, or whenever I can in those time ranges. And for like 2 weeks, I was cruising, and I missed one day because I'm like, I got so much stuff to do this day, I just can't. And then the whole thing crashed and burned, and now I don't even want to read my Bible at all because I feel like I'm a bum because I couldn't keep up with my overly ambitious plan. That's kept more so probably because it feels good to stay up to date with it than it actually is spiritual enrichment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not doing it actually for the relationship, but for you to feel good about yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, reading any Bible is better than reading no Bible. Any Bible at all.
True. That is so true.
Yeah.
Even if you don't feel like it.
Giving yourself grace, I think, for that again, too. Like, we talked about it earlier with, like, balancing, like, ministry and family life, but with devotional life, too, I mean, it's okay to say, like, hey, I can't spend an hour and a half on this today. Maybe I can just spend 10 minutes praying and reading a chapter or something, just finding whatever works for you. It doesn't make you any less of a Christian. Just means that sometimes stuff like that's going to happen. So having grace for yourself even in times like that, I think it's a very important skill to develop over time.
Have you talked to your parents about this, like the arc that you kind of had, the faith arc?
Yeah, a little bit. Talking about how wasn't super active in going to church and faith life and things at the beginning of college. I didn't live with them. Like, that's, I'm living off in the dorm, so I didn't see them all that often. Mm-hmm. So, not that I would tell them about it then, but now in hindsight, like, yeah, it's kind of cool to see the growth that occurred there.
Did they notice it?
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
my parents notice everything. They probably know things about me that I don't know about me.
Yeah,
that's probably true.
That is probably true. What would you say is like the biggest way that you've grown since coming to MLC, or just changed?
That's a good question. Grown or changed since coming to MLC?
Tough question.
That's a very difficult question. I'm sorry to put you on the spot.
It's a
like
good
that.
one. That's okay. Well, for one, every time I read the English Bible, it's hard to take it at face value.
Really?
Yeah.
You know, I'm
Like, wait a minute.
especially if there's a footnote and it says like, or could be, and there's like a different translation possibility. All right, well now I gotta check to see what the
Yeah.
like this is gonna bother me
Because now you can actually read it. Yeah,
Right.
That's cool.
So it has kind of changed Bible studies for me in that sense that, or like even in church, like I have the Logos free app on my phone.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
So there's sometimes when a pastor says something, and I'll just the pastor looking at me probably thinks I'm texting something. I'll just pull out my phone and like I put it in my Bible.
Like the pastor's quoting the Greek or something like that?
No, like he's just talking. He doesn't even quote the Greek.
Oh, okay.
But I just pull it out
He's
because I'm
just
looking at it. And so he probably
Yeah.
just sees me going like this in the middle of his sermon. And he's like, what is this kid doing? Not paying attention. But like sometimes
You're studying.
I got to know. Like there's multiple possibilities. I did it the other Sunday in church and I was sitting in the very front row, like without a row in front of me. So like pastor definitely could see me, and I just pulled out my phone. And
Nice.
This guy's supposed to be a future pastor? What's this?
Yeah,
bro?
he was like, "Oh, this guy's not cut out for it." And so, yeah, I would say that's a way I've kind of changed, like just devotionally. But I don't know. I feel non-theologically, I think I've gotten more interested in things. Like a wider variety of just things, I guess. Like when I was things, yeah. All right, that's all I'm gonna say. Things. No. When I was at WLC, like sports was essentially all I did. Which I love sports, and I still love sports, and I love playing it and watching it and coaching.
He's a really good volleyball player.
and all that good stuff.
He's really good at volleyball.
I'm an okay volleyball player.
I've heard he's really good.
I don't know.
There's just not a lot of like competitive men's volleyball players in our circles. So I look good because there's no competition.
If you want to win, he has to be on your team.
Intramural volleyball season coming up.
It is. I got a game on Wednesday.
Who's your team again for that?
Kennedy Mua.
Yeah, that's reps.
Anna Kieselhorst.
Oh boy.
Madden Romsdahl. And Asher Patterson. Oh, and Sam Miller.
Is Asher the transfer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who played volleyball at Madison. Not like professional, not on like competitive team, but like on club and intramural teams.
I know for a number of you guys listening, that means nothing to you.
Yeah, sorry. We got sidetracked.
They're stacked.
But just know that team's winning first place. 100%. Give them the shirt now. Oh, man, dude. That's crazy, dude. You were... Yeah, sorry. One last question on this. You're a setter, right? That's what you did?
No, I was a middle. I'm actually really, really short for a middle.
So that's first hit then?
No, that's the guy who's in the front middle. So it's a middle blocker.
Okay.
You said you're short?
For a middle? Yeah.
You're like 6'1", right?
I'm 6'2".
6'2".
I don't think I played a middle who was shorter than me ever in my 4 years of college. Yeah. Because that's the one who's in the front middle. And
he has people to get up there.
His job is to block and to hit.
Yeah.
And like when I go back row, that's when the libero would sub in for me. So I would never play back row because the libero subbed in for me.
Okay.
So I never passed.
And you never served?
I served. I would serve.
Okay.
But then after I served, I would go out. And I wouldn't go back in until I'd be in the front row.
Volleyball subs and rotations are so interesting to me. I don't understand it, but it's just always interesting to me. Yeah, sorry. I know this is the Echoes of Sunday podcast, but
to that.
every now and then you just got to go down a fun,
things that you were interested in.
Yeah. There's some fun rabbit holes. But yeah, so that's what I was super interested in college. And I still love, especially volleyball, but like football and basketball and stuff too. But I've gotten a lot more into like just music interest and like literature, even theater. Like not that I do any of it, but I enjoy watching it or reading about it. And yeah, like I've kind of gotten more into that because I wasn't really exposed to that a ton as an undergrad.
What do you think caused that? Was it just like you had the opportunity to be exposed to more of that? Or
Maybe.
is it because like you know that you're training to be a pastor one day?
I don't think it's that.
You?
I think it's part of just the people I've been around with or I've been surrounded by. And it very well could also be that I'm done being a athlete, so I got to find other things to fill my time with.
That's fair.
I'm a NARP now, a non-athletic regular person. That's what we would call the people who didn't play a sport.
No longer a jock.
I'm a NARP now.
NARP.
That sounds like a great title for the episode.
No, it doesn't.
Conversations with Grant the NARP.
Yeah.
No, we won't do that to you, Grant. Don't worry.
Oh, how kind of you. So, yeah, I guess that's the way in which I've changed, just personality-wise, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I think one thing I've appreciated more, another way I've changed, is I've, how do I say this, like, really gotten to enjoy some of the finer details of worship. You know, like appreciating things more and more that we, like, for example, like the creed. I've always recited the creed, but it was kind of just like, yeah, it's what you do. You just recite the creed. But like really trying to figure out what it says. And okay, do I believe this? Do I understand this? Mm-hmm. Is this what I want to profess? And, you know, being really intentional with things like that.
Right, because most people just say it.
Yeah, I just said it for years and years and years.
That's what you're supposed to say.
Mm-hmm.
Right, exactly. So I thought that was good.
Quia versus Quatinus subscription.
Okay, here we go.
Creed. Sorry. Little symbolic.
Passage track only beyond this point.
Yeah. No.
That's happened a couple times this episode already.
True.
Yeah.
That's true.
I feel like this is a thing where it's like, sometimes when like you just get like one of your good friends on the podcast, it's harder to like stay on topic because there's just so many different like things that you can talk about, you know? Like it's almost easier.
It just feels like a next gen car ride.
Yeah, it is actually, yeah. No, but like when we were like talking about like President Gurgle, it's like I feel like it's easier to like stay on topic because it's like, oh, you gotta be like locked in for this conversation. But then it's like,
we can just start yapping about whatever.
Why don't we just talk about volleyball and NARPs
exactly.
and whatever,
NARPs.
you know?
Exactly.
No,
yeah. Is there a type of worship that interests you more? I ask that because I feel like I feel like in California there's a different kind of worship versus in Milwaukee. Maybe I'm wrong about that.
I would say you're wrong about that.
I'm wrong about
actually. Yeah. It definitely depends on the church you go to.
Okay.
But
because California, I think of like Bethel or
that's
the other big churches out there.
Are you thinking like our synod or Christianity as a whole?
Well, I'm thinking, I guess our synod, like what the worship looks like out there versus.
It's pretty traditional in California.
Almost argue it's more traditional out there.
That's fascinating.
That's what I've heard.
Because and it's not as traditional as like, you know, a Grace downtown. Like that's just a big cathedral-y kind of church.
Sure.
But there's not really any contemporary churches.
Mm-hmm.
Is that like on purpose?
I don't think so.
Like to be different?
I don't think so. I mean, like there's some that are like not traditional, you know, they'll kind of like a St. Mark sort of thing. You know, that doesn't mean a lot to some of you guys, but like that type of realm.
Like a mix.
Yeah, like a mix, kind of combination of the two. But there's not a North Cross type of church.
Okay.
Mm.
Not super contemporary.
Yes.
Okay. And do you find you prefer one or the other?
When I was in college, I really was like all in on contemporary. That's all I went to, and I still enjoy it. What's one thing I've come to appreciate more at MLC is I enjoy more of the things of traditional worship than I did before I came here, because I understand some of the rationale behind why we do it, and so I really enjoy both, and that's kind of what we just mentioned St. Mark a bit. I think there's a lot of churches that are really kind of trying to harmonize the two. Yeah. And I really appreciate that. I think that kind of encapsulates a lot of the best parts about both sides, because there's good in both. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But I wouldn't feel uncomfortable at either one. I mean, I've gone to North Cross with you, and right. But I'll go to churches in town here too, and yeah. Okay. Yeah.
It's very hard to balance the two, I feel like. I've not seen a lot of churches do a great job of that, I feel like. St. Mark's is, I think, an obvious exception to that, where, I mean, if you're an MLC student listening, highly recommend going to St. Mark's.
No kidding.
Nothing against any of the New Ulm churches here at all, but St. Mark's is just, it's worth the 30, 40-minute drive up to Mankato, 100%, just to experience it at least once. But yeah, I'd never really seen churches try and balance it that much, I think, before
It's
I
impressive.
came here.
Yeah.
It's really cool how they've managed to do that. But yeah.
Yeah, we're going to be here this summer, and I kind of want to ask him about that, like what that looked like. Because I know the pastor came into that church, and it was, like dying. Yeah.
Yeah. This past summer when I was living here, I got coffee with him, and we talked about that and some other stuff. So
Oh, really?
he'd be more than open to that. Yeah.
He's awesome.
Yeah, he seems like a guy who just he's like down to chat anytime.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. That's how a lot of pastors are. Not all of them, but a lot of them, which is cool.
It's a good quality for pastors, I think.
It is. Pastors should be social creatures, at least to an extent.
Maybe that's another hard thing about being a pastor that I wouldn't like is like a schedule. Because sometimes maybe I just want to walk or get coffee and like talk with people. I don't know.
I feel like
I would argue you actually have a pretty loose schedule as a pastor.
Maybe, but I think there's
give and
meetings or like you have to teach classes or plan things, like write a sermon.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a weekly homework assignment due every Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like how my dad always puts it is when he's in his office from, 8 to 4, 8 to 5, whatever it is. And other than maybe teaching a confirmation class or something, by and large, if he wants to go out for lunch with someone because they text him that morning, or if, one of his kids has a dentist appointment that he forgot about, and he's like, oh, crud, how are they going to get there? He can just go and do it. Or like he can go and pick me up from the airport at 11 a.m. on a Tuesday. Because it's not like you have to be at work.
Mm-hmm.
You're not at a 9-to-5 desk job where if you're not there, you're in trouble.
And my dad was able to coach all of his sons in baseball for like 25 years or so.
My dad was my basketball coach for several years. Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of jobs that you're able to do that, where you're just able to set aside that amount of time, however many times a week, for that many years and be able to do it. But that is kind of cool. It's just a give and take because, like, yes, you have a lot of freedom generally in how, like, your schedule is set up. But, like, the trade-off is, like, there are going to be just times where just random things come up when, like, you're off the clock, I guess, that you have to take care of.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not like there's no
call
perfect.
At 10:30 at night.
Exactly.
And even if you're in bed, you got to get up and go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think, my dad this summer had, like, a call at 2:30 a.m. that, like, one of his members' like, house burned down.
Oh
and,
my
like,
gosh.
and, like, he needed to be there for that.
In one of my classes last semester, there's a prof telling us a story of when he got a call at like 1:30 in the morning from, I don't remember the exact details, but there was some like abuse or something going on with a member of his church, and he got a call like, hey, please come help me now, something's happening.
That's terrifying.
And I'm not gonna, I honestly don't remember like if it was a guy or girl or who, like, but that was the premise. And
wow.
Yeah, he was telling us the story in class. He obviously didn't go into details because that's not his place, and didn't name any names. He was very proper about it.
Also, shouldn't you like call the police in that situation?
They were. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yes.
I know who to call. My pastor.
Yeah, pastor.
He's gonna save me.
See him driving up in his 20-year-old minivan. That's who we need right there.
Blasting like Amazing Grace, top of the speakers.
Yes. Toby Mac.
Toby Mac.
Oh, help is on the way, Toby Mac.
I don't know. I'm sorry. Dude. I was just like,
that is. Oh,
someone broke into my house, Pastor. Quick, come.
He's oh my God, Pastor.
Oh, quick, light the bat signal. Pastor's coming.
Just a cross.
Oh, man.
This is so dumb.
I should have laughed as hard at that.
That was...
You guys should have talked about this when you had Gurgle on the podcast.
Yeah, he would have.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Oh, man. I'm sure he would have thought that was really funny.
He probably would have.
Gosh,
maybe,
no.
yeah.
He's a cool guy. Yeah,
he is. Cool.
I think that is the hardest I've laughed on the Echoes of Sunday podcast.
Yes.
That's up there. That is wow, dude. I feel like we might be the only three people laughing at that.
They're all like,
everyone's like, skip. 10
seconds, 10 seconds, exactly. 10 seconds.
Oh man, dude. I was thinking about this too. One of the coolest things I've ever heard about being a pastor, I vividly remember this in high school. A pastor came and preached at Evergreen, and he just talked about like one of his favorite things about being a pastor is that you get to be with people at the best times in their life, and you get to be with people at the worst times in their life. And my dad is a pastor, and he was my pastor for 16, 17 years at that point, and I'd never heard it phrased like that before, and that kind of just painted it in a new light. Just because, like, yeah, it's not fun necessarily to be at the bed of someone who's about to go die and like meet their savior necessarily, but it is pretty surreal.
Oh,
And
yeah.
it is. It's not fun, but it's incredible. Maybe, you know, and
Very
it's
meaningful.
just it's just something that no other job really you get to say that for. I mean, maybe like doctors and nurses and stuff, but like even then, it's a little different when you're dealing with worldly means versus spiritual means. And that's just something that's totally profound in regards to pastoral ministry, I think.
Yeah, I think I agree. I don't know if I've talked about it on this podcast at all, but still one of the main experiences that I look back on whenever I'm wondering if I want to be a pastor or doubting or whatever is, was it this past summer? Yeah, this past summer. I went to the hospital with my pastor. I was kind of like interning with him a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to move the mic,
Yeah,
you can
well,
try
I think it's falling down a bit.
You can unscrew it here.
Yeah, you can always like tilt it up a little bit too.
Yeah,
Unscrew it, move it up now.
yeah.
And then I just,
Use this intermission period in the Echoes
It's
of Sunday podcast to like,
We're real
share,
here.
and
It's
subscribe.
okay. We're chilling.
Repost your favorite Echoes of Sunday podcast moments and be featured in our next podcast episode.
Does
Now,
anybody
back
else
to the
want to
episode.
move their mic or anything like that?
No, I'm good, Chief.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, I was interning with my pastor, and we went to this hospital, and this elderly lady she had been in and out of the hospital, so she was in again. And actually 5 days after we were there, she died. But I had never met her before. She was a member of the church, but and so we kind of just spent time with her and her family a little bit, and we got to joke around with her and just be there. And she was hilarious. She was a lot of fun to be around. And yeah, then we each got to talk to her about Jesus, and like she was a Christian, but you could tell it meant a lot to her. Like in that moment, like when you're facing death, like nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. You give her communion, and I remember just like standing there while he's just talking to her about Jesus, and I was like, my tears were in my eyes, and I was just, wow. Like that was probably one of the most meaningful, impactful experiences of my entire life. And I didn't even know that woman. Like,
Wow.
to think of what that could be if it was one of my members, one of my congregants, someone that I actually spent time with before that. I think that'd be really special. Sorry, that was just a kind of a tirade, but
No, that's a good story. Thanks for sharing.
that's something I think about a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I remember St. John's Gospel class this semester with Professor Wessel, and he's just talking about, you know, when you're a pastor, you're a shepherd of a flock, and maybe the tendency is like when there's a lot of funerals coming down the pipeline to be really like sad about that and not regretting, but just kind of down on all these people are dying. It's a really difficult time for the congregation, but also to look at it through the lens of when you're the shepherd of a flock, is there any greater joy than when you shepherd that sheep all the way through onto the next life so they can meet like the good shepherd in heaven one day, you know?
Yeah.
And like,
yeah.
I didn't phrase it nearly as profoundly as Professor Wessel did, but I just remember thinking like that's a pretty cool way to look at it where like, yes, when you're the pastor, like it's okay to be sad when stuff like that's happening, and that will be difficult in your ministry, but also to not look at it as like a negative thing, but to just, I don't know, he said almost like give yourself like a high five or something because well done, good and faithful servant.
Yes, sir.
And that's a cool way to look at it. Definitely one of the things I look forward to, I think, as a pastor.
I've heard my dad say a couple times to his congregation, like in a Bible class or something, he would always say, I'm not wishing this on any of you, but every church needs a good funeral every so often. It's just a good reminder.
Yeah.
It is. He's like, I'm not saying I want any of you to be next. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But it's like, somebody take one for this. No, I'm just kidding. Somebody take one for this. But it's a good reminder. It really is. It does, like, there's a quiet beauty in funerals, I think, that really, especially when you're singing a song that's just talking about, I can't wait to go to heaven.
Yeah.
It kind of hits.
Mm-hmm.
The tears start flowing sometimes.
Yeah, because like, what's more real than death?
Yeah.
Well, God's more real than death.
God's more real than death.
That's a cool way to think about it. Because like, I've heard pastors tell me this who have like seen dead bodies and been in the hospital room, like the moment like people take their final breath, like there's almost in some ways nothing more chilling than seeing that take place. And yet somehow, I mean, it's like the In Christ Alone verse, like no fear in death. Like that's just so cool when people are going through that and then they're still confident, like they're not afraid, and everyone in the room is not shedding tears of defeat, but rather like cries of victory. Like that's just so unbelievably profound, and there's no way to really, I think, adequately say what that's got to be like,
Were you gonna say something?
I was not. I was just gonna say another line from that hymn verse because it's such a good verse. That's all I was gonna say. So nothing of note.
Kind of a sad topic, but
totally switching topics. You said earlier when you were talking about how we have plans and God's up in heaven laughing. And when you said that, I thought of something, like something in my life.
Ooh, yes. Sure.
I feel like I've told you. Maybe I haven't.
Maybe
not. Have I told you guys my stutter story?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah,
I think I have, right?
Yeah, you definitely talked to me about it. I don't know if I've heard like the whole story.
Yeah,
maybe I forgot.
So I had this plays into the whole do I want to be a pastor thing or not. I had a not really bad stutter, but I definitely would have been tripped up on several words in this conversation at this episode so far. Like
okay.
a lot. I would just do that. Like that's just and I still do it a little bit, but not nearly as much.
No, not at all.
Yeah, because my junior year of volleyball in college, I got a really bad concussion. Like I just got nailed. Same side of the net. A guy got set back row, my teammate, and he hit me, and I was in the front row, just clobbered me in the back of the head. And I was like, nah, coach, I'm fine. Don't worry. Like 3 minutes later, the room just starts rotating.
Oh man,
I'm not fine. So
coach, I
coach,
need a sub.
Coach, yeah. I know for a fact I'm not fine. Actually, I take back what I said. So went down, got checked. Like, yeah, you got a concussion, and I missed like 10 games that year, which stunk. I was out. It was like 5 or 6 weeks, maybe not that long. It was a long time. But then when I recovered from the concussion, eventually it was my mom was the first one to point out. She's like, Grant, you haven't stuttered since you've been concussed. And this was like 2 months afterward. Wow, you're right. No, I haven't. I never thought about that, but it just stopped. Like I still do it very, very rarely. Every now and then, like I'll trip over a word, like a single word.
Yeah, everybody does that.
Yeah. Or like I was talking about it to someone the other day. Like when I was preaching in class, one of our classes, there was one time where my mouth physically could not produce the sounds it needed to, which that used to happen all the time. And that was the first time that had happened in a while. I was like, it's definitely just because I'm nervous because I'm preaching.
Yeah.
But that was like a normal conversation for me, is I would have to, like, I couldn't produce the sound I needed to say a word. It was super, like, that's the only way I can describe it. But since that concussion, I guess that was almost 4 years ago now, 3 years ago, like it has almost entirely stopped. And that's right around the time when I was really starting to consider do I want to be a pastor or not? So I know that was something where as soon as I got hit in the head and I feel terrible and I can't think straight or see straight, I know God was sitting up in heaven just like, wait till he sees how I use this one. Just getting a kick out of it.
That's so cool.
It's going to be a really
cool
good
story.
sermon illustration one day.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is.
It's almost like a Moses situation, but instead of giving you Aaron, he just like...
He just hit you really hard.
Yeah, he just whacked you with the staff.
Oh, man, dude. Cognitive recalibration.
We in Hebrew last semester, we read Exodus 3 when Moses is talking, Exodus 3 and 4 when Moses is talking about, I'm heavy of mouth and heavy of tongue and all this stuff. And when we were talking, after we did our language study on it, we just started talking like theology of it. And one of my buddies raised his hand and he was like, Professor, I think Grant Wempner should handle this one. So I'm like, what? You got a good story about talking. He's like, oh yeah. So he just called me out in class, and I got to bring it up. So, so yes, we directly connected it with Moses.
Good.
That's awesome. One of my favorite stories in the Old Testament, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Just so cool. You make all the excuses as to why you shouldn't go out and serve God and tell other people about Christ, but at the end of the day, when the doubts and fear start to creep in, God simply says, I am. And that's pretty powerful. Yeah.
I don't think I knew that story. I don't think I did.
I think you told me that on a car ride up to next year.
That sounds like there's a decent chance that,
That was all. It was in between like Michael W. Smith songs, probably.
That sounds accurate, yeah.
Do you want to ask him anything before we get into the last question here?
No, I don't think so. Unless anything else came to mind for you.
I don't think so.
Okay.
Oh, well.
Well, the last question we always ask is, and we kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but what is your devotional life like? What does your prayer life look like? And what would you like it to look like, maybe? And what are some things maybe you've tried that haven't worked? It's always fun to get like the range of different things that work for people, didn't work for people. President Gurgles was fun to listen to, and Brett's was fun to listen to, and it's interesting to get everybody's different devotional life.
Yeah. So we touched on it a bit and how it kind of comes and goes in waves sometimes, and I think that's probably part of everyone's journey.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I've been really trying to hone in on lately is after I do a devotion reading, whatever the scripture is, whether it be prose or poetry or an epistle, like anything, summarize it in no more than 3 words, like either 1, 2, or 3 words, like so either a phrase or a single word, and then I can, like, I can't remember a whole 20 verses of text. I can remember 2 words.
Yeah.
So then as I'm going through my day, I'm sitting down for my prayer before lunch, and I'll pray, thanking God for the food, to bless the food, and then I'll throw in 20 seconds at the end, praying about those 2 words, because I remember those 2 words from something I read that morning or the night before, whatever it is. But every time I do a Bible study, I try to get a 1, 2, or 3 word summary of it.
I like that.
Because otherwise I find it so easy to, even if I have a really good study and I'm mentally present and I'm not distracted and I'm just soaking up what scripture says, it's pretty easy to not remember everything.
Yeah.
Or anything, truth be told.
Yeah.
So having just a quick little hook that I can go back to.
And then if you're like working through a book, if you keep track of those, like you can almost see the train of thought in the book, right?
Yeah, right. You can kind of notice some general trends, and
Really
or
cool.
like having psalms where like you can associate Psalm X with this word, so that if we're talking and someone says a word, you're like, oh, I got it.
Yeah, that's cool.
It's just kind of little brain tricks, and sometimes you forget those too. Like I still don't remember every single
right
1 word summary I've ever come up with. I actually would say I don't remember most of them.
Yeah.
But just having little ways to make sure that it doesn't a devotion isn't just the 10 or 20 or 30 or however long it is ministry there, but that it actually has a continuing effect.
Mhm.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
You haven't heard that one before.
No, that's cool.
Okay, I appreciate that.
I think just recognizing that your devotion doesn't need to be like X amount of chapters. And you don't need to take away like X amount of words.
I never want to do more than one chapter.
I know. I respect that. Yeah.
Like I feel like otherwise I'll forget it. Like I'll read if it's just, if I'm reading for like context or something, or maybe not for like a thorough devotion, but if I actually want to dive into a text, I never want to do more than a chapter.
Yeah.
Even a chapter is a lot.
Yeah, because there's so much.
There's so much in a lot of chapters.
Mm-hmm. I think like it just depends on each person's cognitive abilities, I guess, or cognitive recollection, where it's like there's some guys that I'm sure can read like 5-6 chapters, if not more, and be able to like get I guess the maximum potential information out of it. But like my brain doesn't work like that. Mm-hmm. I'd be willing to bet most people's don't. I think the happy medium I do is like 2 to 3 normally is enough to, I'm able to, I guess, piece together enough to keep it straightforward and concise. But there's some days too where it's like if I'm just like doing an evening devotion after 4 languages and like coaching for 3 hours, where it's like I'll struggle through one. Then that's like I'm just calling it after that because otherwise it's just no shot, you know. Right. But yeah, just finding what works for you.
No, and there's sometimes too where I get home late at night and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna my plan all day was to do a certain I'm gonna read this chapter whenever I'm up next. But then it gets you get home after, like you said, practice and classes and languages and whatever other stuff you got to do. You're like, goodness gracious, I'm so tired. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it just turns into I'm just gonna read whatever your go-to portion of scriptures. For me, it's Isaiah 43. It's just I'm just gonna read it. Like I know I was supposed to read, James 3 today. No, I'm just gonna read Isaiah 43 because mentally I'm drained, but I know I'm gonna get something out of this.
What's Isaiah 43? I know what 53 is.
Yeah, 53 is the suffering servant. Isaiah 43 is where God talks about how he's Israel's only savior. Okay. I called you by name. You are mine.
Okay.
It's
yeah.
I gotta read more of Isaiah.
Cush and Seba in your stead.
I know it is.
Isaiah 43 is. I always tell people it's the lesser known Psalm 23.
Okay.
Yeah, I like that.
I'm working through the epistles right now, but after I get through the epistles, I got to go through the Old Testament prophets again because that's the area of my Bible knowledge that definitely lacks the most.
That's the one that's sometimes hardest to remember and to keep them distinct. And
definitely.
I definitely blur lines there when I shouldn't.
Yeah. Do you have anything else you wanted to ask?
No, I don't think so. I think that was great.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. I enjoyed this.
Thank you for coming on, Greg.
It was a great time.
Happy to have you.
Definitely. I will. I'll be the first to say, and I know Logan would say much the same, that you've been an incredible blessing to both of our lives in the last 2 years and to MLC campus and culture life as well. It's really cool to see how much fire and passion you have for ministry, and that's something that both of us and I think everybody can really respect. And I just can't wait to see what God has in store for you in Alaska this summer and the SEM going forward, and just wherever God ends up calling you, because I know you're going to do great things.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I would echo similar thoughts about you guys. No pun intended.
Yeah.
Although, since I'm on Echoes of Sunday, can I take credit for the name? Because I did come up with the name when we were talking this summer.
He did.
You said Sunday Echoes.
No, I said Echoes of Sunday.
No, you didn't.
I said Echoes of Sunday. Let's check the group chats.
Okay, we'll pull up the receipts.
Sorry,
I vividly remember it came down to a vote. You came up with Echoes, and then I think you wanted to do Sunday Echoes to keep it more simple, and then I wanted to do Echoes of Sunday.
I should have let it end.
We were brainstorming names over the summer for this podcast, and needless to say, none of my names were ever considered. But Echoes of Sunday they like that one both. I can't remember who suggested it.
I definitely suggest
But
that.
I can believe either one, and I know Grant had contributions to it. So
It is true. Yeah, there's a whole lore behind that, but we'll end it now for the sake of our viewers and listeners, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, they're tired of us.
Yeah, probably. They probably turned it off after the whole bat signal. Pastor. Who are you going to call? Pastor. No.
It's not even Batman.
Yeah, that's Ghostbusters. Yeah, I know.
Run it back. No.
Okay, well, as you can see,
Thank you guys for making it this far.
Yeah.
I'm ready for this to be done. My brain is as well, evidently.
Yep, it seems so.
Yeah. Okay, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you again, Grant, for coming on. It was awesome to talk with you, man. And yeah, thank you guys for all the support, and we'll see you next week. Blessings, guys.